Here's Johnny.
Nothing for you.
What you talking about, Willis?
I'm Groot.
You're killing me, Smalls.
Say hello to my little friend.
Ah, the catchphrase, so named for its ability to catch on with audiences. You like that one? A memorable catchphrase, concise though it may be, can define and endear a character in ways that pages of dialogue and exposition couldn't begin to achieve.
I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse.
The best catchphrases emerge as the result of great writing, exceptional delivery, and the simple capitalistic desire to earn money.
I'm walking here.
Because, as everyone knows, a good catchphrase can sell a lot of merch. That's right, we're talking merch.
Why so serious?
A truly great catchphrase transcends the movie or television show in which it originates to become part of our collective culture, impacting the way in which we communicate.
Toto, I have a feeling we're not in Kansas anymore.
Case in point, before the mega hit reality show Survivor premiered on CBS way back in Y2K, we had no idea what it meant to be voted off the island. Almost immediately upon the show's debut, however, the phrase became a fairly common way to express the end of someone's association with a group. As in, hey, how come I haven't seen Bobby around lately? Oh, well, we don't hang with Bobby anymore. We kind of voted him off the island. And while that might sound like kind of a bummer for Bobby, whoever that is, it was definitely a ratings win for producer Mark Burnett. Because a catchphrase is a darn effective form of advertising. It's verbal product placement, and it doesn't cost the network a penny. A great catchphrase can launch a show into the zeitgeist and keep it there long after the film or series has disappeared from the airwaves, thanks only to the amazing power of word of mouth.
The tribe has spoken. The tribe has spoken. The tribe has spoken.
In fact, some of entertainment industry-generated catchphrases we use on a daily basis date back as far as the days of black and white movies and TV.
Look, up in the sky, it's a bird.
It's a plane!
It's Superman.
Danger, Will Robinson. Danger.
Louis, I think this is the beginning of a beautiful friendship.
It would be virtually impossible, not to mention pointless, to try and rate them in any logical order of greatness, or even catchiness. To do that, we would have had to perform an extensive study to determine a phrase's frequency of use, its mass appeal, and degree of recognition. And who has time for that?
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Instead, we decided we'd just give a celebratory shout-out to some of our all-time favorites.
Look at me, sure. I'm the captain now.
In no particular order, here are a handful of fantastic catchphrases we're willing to bet you've used more than once in your life, and will absolutely, without question, have occasion to use again.
Go ahead. Make my day.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
This is Sparta!
Speaking of handfuls, first up is a catchphrase that will live on in Seinfeldian infamy. In the episode The Contest, George gets caught by his mother, of all people, in a somewhat embarrassing situation. From experience, this hilariously euphemistic catchphrase, shall we say, arose. How about came forth? However you put it, this catchphrase not only got a lot of laughs, it went on to become a tagline fans could grab hold of.
So you're still master of your domain?
Yes, I am. Master of my domain.
So to speak. And that kind of catchphrase is hard to beat. Moving on.
I was in the pool!
Next is a phrase made famous in a little film you might totally recall from way back in the 80s, starring a guy who was already pretty big in the 70s. Literally.
It's not a tumor. It's not a tumor.
After earning the enviable title of Mr. Universe, this young bodybuilder with a name almost no one could pronounce successfully muscled his way into Hollywood and soon emerged as a full-on movie star, in no small part to his catchphrase.
I'll be back.
Those three little words turned out to be prophetic with regard to Mr. Schwarzenegger, who did come back as the Terminator a total of 4 times. He then went on to headline blockbuster action films and madcap comedies alike, and he found a way to slip the words "I'll be back" in one form or another into almost everyone.
I'll be back, Benny. I'll be back.
I'll be back.
This oft-quoted cyborgian saying has been in heavy human rotation for more than 40 years, being invoked pretty much anytime, anyone, anywhere, has to go away but plans to return momentarily. Usually in a deep, gravelly but subpar Austrian accent. You know, like this.
I'll be back. I'll be back. Ha ha. I'll be back.
I'll be back. Okay, don't judge. Or should I say, don't judge dread. Which, by the way, is also a pretty badass catchphrase, uttered by the incomparable Sly Stallone, who, like Arnold, also had a very impressive film career, and some seriously big muscles. Not to mention a few pretty memorable catchphrases of his own.
Who are you?
Your worst nightmare.
Yo, Adrian! I did it!
Your disease. And I'm the cure. They drew first blood, not me.
Not all catchphrases are memorable because they're profound, prophetic, or heartfelt. Some get famous for being just plain, well, ridiculous.
Alrighty then.
And that silliness is what defines the character and makes us identify with them strongly enough to quote them on a regular basis, such as this prehistoric expression of joy, this charmingly cheesy pickup line,
Hey, how you doing?
and of course, this nerdy, all-purpose punchline.
Did I do that?
All right, enough already. Then of course there's this interstellar benediction,
Live long and prosper.
which may not be silly in terms of its sentiment, but the ears and the hand gesture. Yeah, pretty silly.
Fascinating.
And yet, Trekkies and non-Trekkies alike have been offering this blessing since the mid-1960s. And what about this one?
You wouldn't like me when I'm angry.
And this one.
Oh, snap.
And who could forget?
Hey, Ma! Can we get some meatloaf?
Man, we could go on forever just listing these babies.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Exactly. Okay, here's an idea. Let's try something a little different. Let's pretend we're going to do an interview with the catchphrase to find out how it feels to be a part of the American pop culture lexicon. I'm not talking about interviewing the person associated with a particular phrase. I'm suggesting we suspend our disbelief and imagine an interview with the actual catchphrase itself. After all, a great catchphrase speaks for itself, right? So let's let it.
What we've got here is failure to communicate.
So, in this little fantasy of ours, let's pretend the interview is being conducted by that revered, celebrated news anchor of the 60s, 70s, and 80s, Mr. Walter Cronkite. And if you don't know who he is, just ask your grandparents where they were when John F. Kennedy was shot, and I guarantee Walt's name will come up. And by the way, Cronkite was well known for signing off the air with this iconic catchphrase.
And that's the way it is.
Man, he's good.
Inconceivable.
Hello, catchphrase, and welcome.
You talking to me? You talking to me?
That's correct. You are the only one at this interview, so yes, I'm talking to you. Is it all right if I ask you a few probing questions?
All right.
Great. First, let me say I'm a really big fan of how you managed to remain so humble and approachable.
Hey!
Where are you from originally?
Texas forever.
And how did you get to Hollywood?
The plane!
Now, I'm told that even when you were just starting out as a little random bitsy bit of dialogue, your own mother predicted that you would become the most famous catchphrase in the business.
That's what she said.
Obviously, she was correct. Tell me, in those early days, who was your biggest professional rival?
Marsha!
Well, you certainly surpassed the competition. And just how far do you plan to ride this wave of success?
To infinity and beyond!
Love the ambition. Is there anything you'd like to have done more in your career?
I could have used a little more cowbell.
Cowbell? Should I take that to mean, well, you'd like to appear in a Western someday?
Yippee-ki-yay, mother...
Your fans want to know if being the world's most ubiquitous catchphrase impacted your self-esteem.
I'm the king of the world!
Oh, come on. Isn't that just a little arrogant?
How rude!
You're right. That was insensitive. Please accept my apology. I'm truly sorry.
Thank you very much.
I didn't quite get that. Would you mind repeating it?
Thank you very much.
That concludes our interview with the greatest catchphrase of all time.
You stay classy, San Diego.
Oops, what I meant was...
Hasta la vista, baby.
God, never mind.
And may the Force be with you.
Thanks for watching, and be sure to subscribe and hit that like button.